What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. We hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and we know the Dallas Cowboys lost again, 23-9, the final score for the Cowboys in the city of brotherly love. Falling to the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cowboys now sit squarely in third place in the NFC East, the most historic division in the NFL. Had multiple segments dedicated to how big of a disaster it is, honestly, on NBC. It's a joke. You know, there's nobody denying that the Cowboys are one of the worst teams in the NFL. The Eagles are one of the worst teams in the NFL. They're in first place in the NFC East in Week 9 with a 3-4-1 record, and they have to sit on that for an extra week as the Eagles are on a bye next week. The Cowboys, meanwhile, thanks to a big-time Pittsburgh Steelers win against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday, the Cowboys will host the only undefeated team in the NFL next week at AT&T Stadium. By the way, the last time Mike McCarthy played against the Steelers in AT&T Stadium, it was Cowboys Stadium at the time. His team won the Super Bowl. His team will not be winning the Super Bowl this year. I'm pretty certain. The Cowboys, again, 2-6 now, thanks to their latest loss. It was a big game in a lot of ways, honestly. At least, you know, we wanted to believe it was going to be a big game for the Cowboys. It was the debut of the one, the only, the Nooch, Ben DiNucci, rookie 7th-round draft pick for the Cowboys out of James Madison University, made his debut under the bright lights of Sunday Night Football at Lincoln Financial Field. It was not enough, the Nooch energy. No, it was. The Dallas Cowboys again losing, and Ben DiNucci did not play well. But did you think he would? I mean, you know, I don't know anybody that you know, should have thought that Ben DiNucci was going to play well. Yeah, we gassed him up last week on Twitter and stuff, and it was fun, and, you know, we had a good time. I mean, the Nooch, Gucci, DiNucci, there were a lot of fun nicknames, but if you really thought that Ben DiNucci was going to come in and play well as a rookie 7th-round pick from James Madison, a rookie 7th-round draft pick, and that's exactly who Ben DiNucci is, and you have to temper your expectations, and I think that's where we're at with the Cowboys. And you know, I don't know that, you know, I don't know that anybody's ever going to be comfortable with losing, but, you know, it ultimately is good for the Cowboys that they are losing. I mean, you know, we know the Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl this year. We've known that ever since Dak Prescott went down. But the Cowboys currently, at least if the season ended today, it doesn't. But if it did, the Cowboys would hold the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft. And that is what is worth fighting for. If the Philadelphia Eagles commit to Carson Wentz again, that is what is worth fighting for. I mean, Carson Wentz was not a whole lot better than Ben DiNucci in this game. I mean, you know, it was sort of a close margin, I thought. You know, for a lot of this game, at least, Carson Wentz did what he could to keep the Cowboys in this game for a bit, had 4 total turnovers. In fact, let's go through some of the highlights from this game. The first Carson Wentz turnover came early on. Donovan Wilson, Cowboys safety, fighting Texas Aggie, manages to find Carson Wentz doing who knows what, blows him up, causes a fumble. Big time turnover for the Cowboys, although they would go on to fumble it themselves. Let's move on. Jalen Reagor, the TCU product, put the Eagles on the board first with a nice touchdown. That was painful to watch. Let's get something good. Leighton Vander Esch, just like Dono, blows up Carson Wentz on 4th down for the sack fumble. That was a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, the Cowboys offense was really up to some tricks this particular Sunday night. Reverses and Wildcats, having some fun. Trayvon Diggs got his first interception of his NFL career in this game. Look at Carson Wentz looking. Throw that dime to Trayvon Diggs. Got that shin down. Congratulations to Trayvon. Congratulations times 2, though. The first Eagles possession of the second half. Carson Wentz goes deep downtown and finds the Alabama cornerback. Congratulations to Trayvon Diggs. A deuce of interceptions on the night. I mentioned a lot of turnovers. Ben DiNucci had a costly one late in the game. Takes a sack, fumble. Rodney McLeod, there was some debate about this, whether it was down, whether it wasn't. Lots of discussion, but picks it up at midfield, runs it back for what is essentially and effectively the game icing touchdown for the Eagles. They would go for 2, and it was what, but they would get 2 later on when the Cowboys took a safety. An intentional safety because of the wind, trying to get better position to punt. It was what it was. The Cowboys losing ultimately 23-9. Let's take a look at some of the team-wide stats from this performance. The Dallas Cowboys, if I showed you all this information, and this doesn't tell you the whole story, I'm not trying to pretend that it does, but this is important. If I gave you this information and didn't tell you the score, didn't tell you anything, so this is how it ended, I think you would look at this and say, think the Cowboys have a shot. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys outgained the Philadelphia Eagles. Not a whole lot of offense in this one. 265 yards of total offense for the Cowboys, only 222 for the Eagles. Meanwhile, the Eagles did average a little bit more per play, 3.8 yards to the Cowboys, 3.4, where the game was definitely different and where it should have been won. The Philadelphia Eagles had 4 total turnovers. You saw them all. The 2 interceptions to Trayvon Diggs, the fumble that both Donovan Wilson and Leighton Vander Esch generated. The Cowboys, we talked so much about coming into this game about how they were not generating turnovers on defense, how they were giving the ball up themselves. Mike McCarthy has been talking about so much the turnover differential, that is such a thing that a lot of coaches lean on, that's sort of a foundational principle. If you win the turnover battle, you win the game. And a lot of coaches believe that because it is true generally, but this is proof positive that is not always the case. Again, the Cowboys ended the turnover differential +2 in this matchup. The 2 Ben DiNucci fumbles early on, as mentioned, after the Donovan Wilson fumble, Ben DiNucci fumbled it himself. Shout out to Terrence Steele, of course. And then that last one that Rodney McLeod took to the house all the way for a touchdown. I think it should be mentioned that the Cowboys entered this game having played 7 games. The Cowboys had played 7 full games on the season before they played the Philadelphia Eagles. And in those 7 full games, the Dallas Cowboys had, guess how many interceptions? I want you to guess. I want you to guess. Take your time. I want you to guess. They had 1. That's right. The Dallas Cowboys defense had 1 interception in 7 full games, and it shouldn't have even accounted. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, Chidobe Awuzie had the only interception on the Cowboys defense prior to Sunday night. It was incidentally also on Sunday Night Football in Week 1 on the road against the Los Angeles Rams, and it shouldn't have counted because a penalty should have been called on Aldon Smith. He got in Jared Goff's face and caused that ball to end up in Chidobe Awuzie's arms. But the Cowboys, the magic elixir, baby, is apparently Carson Wentz for a secondary. So the Cowboys now have 3 interceptions on the season. 2/3 of them obviously belong to Trayvon Diggs. And that's kind of what we're at. I mean, right? That's where we're at, I should say, is right now this season is all about experimenting and learning and getting snaps to younger players. That's why the Cowboys traded away Everson Griffin last week. That's why they cut Dontari Poe and Daryl Worley so that they could give these snaps to your Trayvon Diggs, to your Randy Gregory's, to your Bradley Aniz, to your Aldon Smiths. Obviously not a younger player, but you want those to go to people and players who you think deserve the opportunities because you think they can be around for your future. And I think that all those players certainly meet that requirement for the Cowboys. Overall, I thought this was the best coached game the Cowboys have had. I thought this was the best game they've had on defense. I thought this was the best the offensive line has looked in some time. And I honestly think that Andy Dalton probably wins this game. And I hate to do that and bag on Ben DiNucci because, he went into such a volatile situation with no real experience. But the offensive line held up. Again, Terrence Steele really was a big reason why Ben DiNucci had that first fumble. I think that maybe Andy Dalton turns 3 of those field goals, or not 3 of those field goals, 1 or 2, or maybe all 3 of the field goals that Greg Zuerlein did connect on. He did miss a field goal as well. But I think Andy Dalton turns 1 of those, or 2 of those, or some of those, whatever the case may be, into more. I think that Andy Dalton is obviously somebody who can move the ball a little bit more differently than Ben DiNucci because he's got the experience. And again, I thought the Cowboys defense played really well. I thought DeMarcus Lawrence had a great game. I thought that Leighton Vander Esch had a really good game. I thought that Donovan Wilson had a really good game. I don't want to be the guy that continues to harp on Jalen Smith not being good, but he was not very good. Jalen Smith there was one point in this game actually, where Jalen Smith ran away from Carson Wentz. And the early touchdown to Jalen Reagor right before that, that play, Jalen, it's hard to know what Jalen was doing, to be frank. And I think that's the only disconnect for me with this coaching staff is on defense, you've been the joke of the NFL. We all know that, but you managed to get these great, these good, these solid, whatever word or adjective you want to use, performances from DeMarcus Lawrence, from Leighton Vander Esch, from Trayvon Diggs, from Randy Gregory. I mean, you got these good performances, right? You got these legitimate, these performances that you can win with. And yet you still trot out Jalen Smith and you trot out Tyrone Crawford. And so it's kind of hard. Those messages don't line up and they don't sync up. And so that's a difficult thing to understand. But I think, again, I know the Cowboys lost and I know that this is likely not going to make you feel better, but I thought it was a really strong overall performance from the team. That was a message that I thought a good friend, Dave Hellman of DallasCowboys.com, echoed really well in a tweet. Dave is on Twitter at HellmanDC saying, after the game, believe it or not, this is a pretty damn encouraging result. If the rest of the Cowboys roster can play this way with Andy Dalton back in the lineup, I think they can be a pretty competent team. So there's that. Speaking of Andy Dalton, I mentioned it earlier, the Dallas Cowboys will host the Pittsburgh Steelers next week. Obviously, Andy Dalton knows the Steelers rather well, having played against them twice a year for all of his career to this point as a member of the Cincinnati Bengals. Will Andy Dalton be playing next week against Pittsburgh? Jerry Jones has expressed some confidence that this could be the case, and speaking on 105.3 The Fan at different points over the last week. John Machota from The Athletic tweeted out himself that Mike McCarthy said Andy Dalton, who obviously as mentioned is coming off of a concussion, was doing significantly better on Saturday, so he thinks he's close to returning. Dalton is expected to start next Sunday against the Steelers. John is on Twitter at John Machota. Not the best performance from Ben DiNucci, but I mean the guy was playing James Madison football a year ago. I mean, what'd you expect from him? In fact, a tweet from Jory Epstein, who covers the NFL and the Dallas Cowboys for USA Today, on Twitter at Jory Epstein, tweeting a note from Cowboys quarterback Ben DiNucci: "This NFL thing, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard, Ben DiNucci. It's a tough go. But hey, I mean, sometimes the NFL can be easier. Sometimes it can be more difficult. Sometimes it makes us happy. Sometimes it makes us sad. How does it make some of our other staffers at Blogging the Boys feel? We have two voices for you to hear from tonight, today, whenever you're watching this. Let's go to our Girls Talking Boys co-hosts, Kelsey Charles and Meg Murray. Girls Talking Boys is one of the many shows that you can listen to on the Blogging the Boys podcast network. We are available on all major podcast platforms. Simply search for Blogging the Boys, subscribe, leave a rating, write a review. We really appreciate those. While you're at it, hit subscribe right here. Right here, I'm not exactly sure where it is, right here on your screen, for the official Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. If you haven't seen, we are really focused on revamping this bad boy up to make it better for you. And speaking of Girls Talking Boys, a new episode will be dropping on Monday. And starting on Monday, you can watch all of our podcasts right here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. So let's see Kelsey and Meg right now. Let's hear from them what they have to say in the immediate aftermath of the game. And you'll hear from them. You'll see them later on Monday as well. Kelsey Charles, what did you think of the Dallas Cowboys' latest loss of the season?
Hi, guys. So I'm tired. I'm not just tired because it's late. I'm tired of trying to find silver linings coming out of some really tragic football games. But I'm going to do my best. So tonight, let me just say this. I did not have the Cowboys winning this game. I don't think many people did, especially in light of the fact they're playing our third string, 7th round pick coming out of JMU. I'm also not going to trash him because at the end of the day, he is exactly just that. And this was totally a just survival mode. And I'm fine with that. Listen, it is what it is. And it could have gone a lot worse. Like, coming out of that first half, I was legitimately surprised in a good way that things weren't worse. Our defense, they showed up. Got a sack from LVE. That was just beautiful. And I'm sure he was so thrilled to have that. Just coming off of all those injury issues that he's had before. And then, DeMarcus Lawrence had one too, which is great. Trayvon Diggs gets my star of the game for sure. They targeted him. And granted, yeah, of course it worked a few times, but he definitely punished them. And I'm especially impressed for him because he's a rookie, you guys. He's a rookie. He's going to be so much better. Just wait. So I'm so he is the future. I'm pumped for him on that. I wish we could have been more productive on our offensive side of things. Amari Cooper only had one catch for 5 yards. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I'm not going to totally blame him by any means. Dalton Schultz has been another silver lining for me. So again, it kind of is what it is, you guys, right now. You need to be very realistic with your expectations. And I'm in full celebrate little victories mode right now. So obviously a bummer. I'm exhausted. I don't think there's much enthusiasm around this game, rightfully so. And I'm not looking forward to next weekend. Not at all.
I agree with Kelsey. The silver lining here is hard to find. What was that movie, Silver Linings Playbook? I feel like that there was an Eagles Cowboys part of that movie, right? With Robert De Niro and Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper. And I think she won an Oscar for that movie. Yeah, I know pop culture. That's right. I know. Mandalorian came out and everything. Yeah, I'm all about it. Yeah, that movie was. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy this game. And it's tough to figure out anything to be excited about. Kelsey, like I said, is one half of Girls Talking Boys. You can watch it here on the official Blog on the Boys YouTube channel later on Monday. As mentioned, what does her other half, Meg Murray, have to say about how the Cowboys fared in the city of brotherly love?
So we looked okay against a bad team. The dumpster fire division, the name is still strong. We're facing an undefeated team next week. So I feel good about nothing, really. The defense had some turnovers. That's promising. I don't know that they really made changes or if they just looked good against a bad team. Really excited for next week. At the end of the day, though, Trayvon Diggs looked really good. He's my player of the game. He's a rookie and he's just playing lights out. Of course, he's making mistakes. He's getting targeted. This is like baptism by fire. But promising stuff in his future. As always, Cowboys forever, Philly for never.
Eagles for never. If you listen to Girls Talking Boys, which you should, like I said, available every Monday and Friday on the Blog on the Boys podcast network, you know that is Meg's signature sign-off line. It's time for us to sign off here in this episode of the Postgame here on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. And I know it's rough. I do. I get it. I mean, it's never fun to see the Cowboys lose a game. You never want to see that. But like I said, the Cowboys currently have the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft. There's still half of the season left. That's going to change. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. I don't know if it's going to go up, honestly, though, because, I mean, think about the remaining schedule for the Dallas Cowboys. They have to play the Pittsburgh Steelers next week, as mentioned. After that, they're on their bye, the week of the Masters. After that, they go on the road to take on the Minnesota Vikings, who just beat the Green Bay Packers. After that, on a short week, they host the Washington football team, who has already housed them on Thanksgiving. 7 days after that, they have to play the Baltimore Ravens. A week and a half after that, they have to play the Cincinnati Bengals on the road, who just beat the Tennessee Titans. After that, they still got to play the Eagles. They still got to play New York. They still got to play the San Francisco 49ers, who didn't look great themselves on Sunday, although they did certainly bounce back against Seattle. But so it's certainly possible that this team doesn't win another game. And I know that that's depressing, and I know that that's frustrating, but it is important to see young players getting the snaps and getting the attention and getting the experience that we are seeing them get. And so that is our hope. That is our focus for now. Whatever happens, you can bet your bottom dollar that we will have you covered at bloggingtheboys.com, SB Nation's home for Dallas Cowboys content. We will have you covered right here on the revamped Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. Hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our wonderful episodes. All of our podcasts, like I said, will be dropping starting on Monday, November 2nd. Make sure to subscribe to the Blog on the Boys podcast network. Speaking of podcasts, so you can listen to them when you're on the go. I'm RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at RJ Ochoa. And you do me a favor. You can have the absolute best day of all time. You know why? Because you deserve it. We'll see you next time.